Sentry mode activated. Target acquired.
Hey there hunters, welcome back to the Gunners Guild. So today we have kind of a lot of bowgun information to go over. Again, all this information is dumped from the demo ROM thanks to a Radiant Asterisk. This is not an early copy of the game, so we will be missing some key features, but regardless we're going to cover what we have, so let's kind of dive into that really fast and get this out of the way. So let's just deal with both bowguns at the same time since they're going to be pretty similar. Light bowgun still only has one special ammo, which is the Wyvern Mines. Sad face to that, but whatever. The Wyvern Blast does work slightly differently now though. While larger hits do make large explosions and consume more of the potential 5 charges they have, it feels like you can always get at least 3 explosions out even with large blasts, so that's kind of cool. Heavy bowgun still has Wyvern Heart and Wyvern Snipe, which will be changeable on the bowguns it seems, as we'll have alternate versions called Recovery Heart and Recovery Snipe. These have half the motion value and I presume will have a faster cooldown rate to compensate. I can't imagine recovery actually meaning they heal. I mean, how would you fucking heal snipe something? I'm curious to see how much focus is going to work on that though. For Bowgun mods, we're going to be back to the old world style. Rather than having mod slots, we just get this simple attachment menu. So we will have the silencer, which will reduce your threat, your recoil, and shorten the critical distance a little bit. Long barrel, which will increase your damage, increase your critical distance. Shield mod, and power barrel, which just increases your damage more. No mentions of limit remover, which was a kind of a G rank game thing that removed rapid fire from light bowgun and siege from heavy bowgun to give significantly more raw, so that's not in. But yeah, it's basically old school bowgun mechanics. The other thing I wanted to talk about is recoil, reload, and deviation. So we will have deviation like 4U and 3U, and what that means is that we will have bowguns that can hook far left and far right. Now if you recall, deviation did pretty much nothing in Gen and GU, and in World, deviation actually did the kickback of the reticle on shooting, which is what recoil is supposed to be, but we pretty much ignored it regardless. Now we won't be able to ignore it so much, so yeah, more mechanics, reverting back to old world stuff. You might have to put in some armor skills to compensate, but yeah. Now regarding recoil and reload, it's kind of interesting. So recoil will work like old world bowguns as well, where every ammo itself will have a set recoil level, so it's not attached to the gun anymore. The bowgun will have a range of very bad to very good recoil that can counteract the ammo's recoil or make it worse. If you're familiar with old style bowguns, you will understand this. Basically, we have a table that we have to kind of counteract. It's not going to be listed anywhere as far as I can tell. We're just going to have to know, so yay. Now reload will be associated with the gun itself in similar fashion to how recoil works. However, what's new with recoil and reload is that the ability to walk and shoot and walk and reload is going to be different for every ammo on every bowgun. Of course, just to make things more complicated. So you know the bowgun UI that shows the ability to reload and walk or walk and shoot? Yeah, that's an ammo specific stat now. So you can have the fastest rate of fire and still be stationary to shoot, or the slowest rate of fire and still be able to walk and shoot. Same for reload. It's weird, trust me, I don't get it. Like even clusters can have the ability to walk and shoot. I kind of find this more annoying than anything, to be honest. It's something we really didn't need. Because now when we check bowguns, not only we need to check its usable ammo, the clip sizes, the bowgun's recoil, the reload speed, now we have to also check and see if those ammos can be walked and shot or reloaded and walked. It's just more compounding layers that can ruin the potential of bowguns, because getting something that lines up just right is going to be pretty damn rare. Kind of like World Heavy Bowgun, it was bad until we got Glutton. Like seriously, prior to getting that, Heavy Bowgun had nothing but clusters, like everything else was just shit on it. Anyway, just an interesting addition to gunning that's new to Rise, but let's move on to the ammo themselves. I will include their motion values, kind of how they operate, and general thoughts on them, so let's just go with that. So starting with normal ammo, pretty much bread and butter, nothing's changed from World. Normal 3 has a 34 motion value still, which is fine. Nothing special. If we get a solid bowgun with a large clip, they may see some use, but that's about it. Pierce ammo. So Pierce ticks and Rise are interesting. They tick super fast, and like World, you get about 8 possible good hits before your damage falls off. Good luck getting 9. Granted, getting those good hits in is going to be very rare. That's just like a maximum possibility. Say if you're point blank on Kolb's belly, you might get it, otherwise, no dice. The motion values here are actually lower than I imagined they would be. 7 on Pierce 1 and 2 and 8 on Pierce 3 is pretty bad, to be honest. The main difference for Pierce ammo here is that since the tick rate is higher on the higher tier of ammos, Pierce 3 is obviously going to be our go-to. We're not going to be like, dumbing down ammos like in old world games. But it's going to depend on the bowguns which Pierce we use, because obviously they're still pretty close. Now the critical distance is obviously a lot further out than normals, and will be more useful against larger monsters. But also the hit zones are definitely going to matter. Like Zinogre, don't take Pierce to it, like ever. It's only got a good hit zone on its face. So moving on to spread ammo. Just like World Spread, no difference. It's 3x6, 5x7, and 7x8 motion value. Spread 3s are still going to be the biggest bang for our buck, and assuming we get a solid bowgun to abuse it, Glutton's back on the menu. I mean, there's nothing more to it. Now the new raw ammo is Shrapnel Mo. This ammo actually works exactly like pellet ammo from old gens. It fires a cone of bullets that will instantly hit anything and everything in the cone. These bullets will attach to magnet zones on monsters, which are invisible spots that just attract bullets, which are only usable on pellets. Now, some monsters do have good magnet hit zones that happen to be their weak spots, like here on this Arzuros and the Azuchi and Zinogre's Horn, but some monsters like Tigrex have magnet zones on their claws, which is a bad hit zone, so it's not going to fly. Now, since its MO basically requires no accuracy and you can just spray and pray, it looks kind of overpowered. Trust me, it's not. The best Shrapnel Ammo, which is Shrapnel 3, hits for 5 times with a 5 motion value. That's 25. It's less than a Spread 2. Trust me, it's pretty bad damage. However, that doesn't mean it's actually useless. I imagine this is actually going to be our go-to ammo for rampages. When we have 2 or 3 monsters at the same time in a tight area, we'll be able to spray and shotgun down multiple monsters at the same time and kind of multiply that motion value. And if you can't see or aim well anyway, great, just fucking throw shrapnel and you're good. Now slicing ammo is still in and works just like it always has, so nothing new here. The motion value is pretty solid though. It's 10 motion value by 5 hits for 50 total. It's almost as good as Spread 3. If we get a decent clip size on these, we may have a solid contender for a good primary ammo here. We're gonna skip over statuses because they haven't changed at all. There's literally nothing new here. They do what they do. Same goes for support ammos like Demon Armor Health. Don't worry about it. For elemental ammo, we now have regular elemental ammo that does a single hit, and elemental pierce, which can hit up to 5 times. Elemental pierce has half the motion values of the regular elemental ammo, so as long as you can get in a few hits on a good hit spot, then it should be pretty much better in all regards. It's just nice to have an additional set of ammo so we can actually make more craftable elemental ammos and probably take down more than one monster with it. Dragon ammo is super weird though. So like in World, we can only carry 3 at a time, both regular and pierce, and they work just like their counterparts. You know, like World, Dragon has like this little slow projectile that hits a bajillion times. No, Dragon hits once, Dragon Pierce hits up to 5 times. What's weird is that they have the exact same elemental values as the other elemental ammo as well. So Dragon is 40, Dragon Pierce is 22. It's their raw values that's crazy high, like 80 and 44. That's odd, right? Like they work like everything else here in the elemental tables, except that you only get 3, and the raw is significantly higher. I honestly don't really know how much we're going to use Dragon ammos. If you want to use raw, then just use spread or something. So I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, on to Stickies. These are the same as World. 100 KO on Sticky 3, 50 on Sticky 2, same motion values, same carry capacity, and that's fine because we're able to do some pretty cool things with Sticky builds in Iceborne. Kinda like them. Hopefully we do get a good Sticky light bowgun, but other than that, you know how Stickies operate, same old same old. You shoot, they KO, they fall over. Now clusters. Clusters are going to function almost identical to World, but they no longer have a fire motion value attached to it. Don't really know why, but okay. And as you know, Light Bowgun can now use clusters again, so that's cool. You can also walk and shoot with them, assuming the bowgun allows it. I'm not sure if we're gonna get one, but it can be done, it's right here. Also, you do get 10 bomb berries to make backup clusters, which is what we had in base game World, but in Iceborne we only had 5, so I mean this is a net improvement here. The last few little pieces of info I wanted to talk about. So first on that list is that Heavy Bowgun has the ability to charge ammo, and it seems pretty good for high level ammo. You get about 75% more damage out of it, and you can even charge Wyvern ammo, which is great for wake ups. The only ammo you can't charge is clusters, it seems. Now I'm hoping focus reduces the charge time, because then focus could be great for this and special ammo, especially with the recovery special ammo. So next on this list is rapid fire for light bowguns. It is reverted to its 0.7 per shot rather than World's 100% and then 50 for subsequent shots. There are MOs that do fire 2 shots on rapid fire, like Sticky 3s and clusters, assuming we'd ever get a rapid fire cluster. But yeah, that's basically all the info. I just kind of wanted to go over 2 small complaints I have with bowguns right now. The first is that there's no craft all. We didn't have it until Iceborne, but I really wish we had it in this demo. So sure, it could still be a feature in the main game, but I don't really see why they would be excluded in the demo, especially it's 2 weeks out. Having to manually craft ammo from the menu is very annoying, especially if you have to do multiple ammos. And radial crafting has to be pressed like 60 times to fully craft a stack of ammo, because unlike previous Monster Hunter games, we were crafting 1 at a time here rather than 2 to 4 in the previous games. So yeah, it's tedious, especially when you think that in demo hunts we're going through like 400 rounds of pierce ammo on a monster. That's a lot of crafting, and you can't craft while you're reloading, which is just another big blow. It's literally just a DPS loss because you have to actually be reloading when you could be shooting instead of, you know, doing it in the middle of shooting. I mean, it's just minor bitching here about damage, but still, it's kind of an annoying thing to lose. And then the second complaint I really have is that I'm wondering more and more why we even have 2 different bowguns anymore. Since they removed the raw modifiers, all the bowguns do the same damage. Heavy bowgun doesn't have siege, and the only difference between these bowguns now is the special ammo they use and their walk speed. I'm just kinda wishing they would collapse the 2 bowguns into just the bowgun weapon and make it more modular, kinda like a medium bowgun. And that'll free up a weapon slot and we can get a new weapon. Like, how about that? I'm like, am I crazy or what? Like, the line between these 2 guns are just getting blurrier with each game. Like, I'm seeing less and less of a reason to have 2 guns. Now, other than that, I don't really have much to complain about. Bowguns are very much going to play like World Bowguns with some added old school flair. The new MOs are not really exciting to me, to be honest. Elemental Pierce is kind of cool, but everything else is kind of the same as it was on World, which isn't bad. It's just boring. Hopefully, the switch kills and the silk binds will make the guns feel more lively, because I don't particularly like either of the silk binds in the demo for either bowgun. And heavy bowgun still has infinite slide, so yeah. Anyway, that's all for me, so thank you all for watching. Still getting hyped for Rise, even if it doesn't sound like I am. Trust me, I am. But yeah, good luck out there, hunters, and whatever you may be hunting.